let's go ahead and get started. So, hey everyone, welcome. Thanks for joining today. I'm Eva, and I lead product marketing here at OneSignal. And today we'll be talking about data tags and how they help you unlock effective messaging. We have a lot of good stuff for you today, so let's go ahead and get started. So, on the agenda, today I'll start with what are data tags, why they matter, benefits and use cases, and then I'll also go over different ways that you can add data tags. And we already have a lot of existing resources on technical ways to add data tags, so I'm going to focus today on easy no-code ways so you're not blocked by your dev resources and availability and things like that. I'll also demo how some of these work in our dashboard, and then we'll go ahead and end with some Q&A. So as you have questions, please use the Q&A box. Great, let's dive right in. So data tags overview. Data tags really can be the difference between a generic blast message and a really effective personalized message that you're getting at the right time. That's really targeted to you, your experiences, and your interactions with a company's website or app. And so, data tags really are the foundation of effective messaging. They're both super flexible as well as super powerful. They really are the building blocks for segmentation, which helps you reach the right audience, for personalization, which makes sure your messaging content is relevant, and also for automation, which saves you time and resources. And all of these are really important to maintaining meaningful connections with your users as your business grows. So like I mentioned, data tags are accessible for both technical and non-technical users. There are a couple of different ways to set them up, and we'll go into that in more detail later. And what's really powerful is you can also use them to collect first-party data instead of paying for third-party data. So especially now, there are a lot of changes going on in the marketing landscape, right? So third-party data is becoming a lot more expensive, a lot less accurate. People really care about like privacy and things like that. So it's really difficult to get really good data from your users, and data tags help you collect first-party data, which is usually, the most useful kind of data. Data tags also help you improve the user experience, which leads to higher both like engagement in terms of people interacting with your messages, conversions where people are actually doing the things that you want them to do, revenue, as well as customer satisfaction. So starting off, basically, what are data tags? So basically, a data tag is a key value pair, and it stores custom data about a user. So this can be things like attributes, so things like name, birthday, geography, things like that, activity and events. So as users, add things to their cart or like performs an action or hits a certain level in your game, you can store all of that information about your user as well. And you can also use it to capture audience feedback. So a little bit more on what a key value pair is. So the key is, think of it as like the variable. So it could be like name, and the value would be the value for that specific user. So keys can be only alphanumeric characters, and you can only use an underscore. So you can't use other special characters like, exclamation points or things like that. And then values, it can be in string format. You can also store dates and numbers, and our system will automatically convert that for you. So, you see on the right here, for example, gaming company, they're storing how many coins the users earn, as well as when someone joined. Great, so benefits and use cases. So starting off, segmentation. Segmentation, what that is it makes sure that you're reaching the right people. Segmentation is super powerful, right? You don't want to send the same message to your entire audience if it's not relevant to them. So we found for our customers, ones who are using segmentation effectively, they're increasing their open rates by up to 50%. And more targeted segmentation also drives higher ROI because, again, you're reaching the right audience and you're not sending irrelevant messaging to people who don't want to receive them. So one real life example is I have the Amazon Photos app, and for example, it'll send me a notification and it says, see a photo from this day in the past. And then I click into it, I open it, and there's no photo. It's because they're not segmenting to check if I even have a photo to show to begin with. And compare and contrast that to Facebook. So Facebook will send you a message and it's like, look at, this day in the past, and I'll actually have either like photos or like posts from that day. And if I don't have anything for that day, Facebook doesn't send a photo reminder, right? So they're segmenting and only reaching people when they actually have something to show. So yeah, you can combine data tags and filters, and basically you create these like segments in audience groups, and you're just filtering out people that's not relevant for. So some examples include you can target by personal attributes, user behavior, life cycle, location, all of that. A little bit more on how segments work. So you can create segments through the dashboard for our non-technical users, and also via the API for our dev audience. So basically you just combine multiple data tags and filters through and or clauses, and you can get as granular as you want. So for example, we have a couple of default segments in the OneSignal dashboard. So like your subscribed users, active users, engaged users, things like that. You can also set up specific segments. Like for example, if you have an abandoned cart segment, you can track how long it's been since they've abandoned their cart and then automate messages based on how long it's been. You can both use this for times in the past, so abandoned cart or re-engagement for people who haven't been active in a couple of days or weeks or things like that. And you can also use these segments for events in the future as well. So for example, if you have like a sale campaign in the future, you can trigger these messages to go out based on time leading up to the event, whether it's like a sale or like a pay-per-view stream or anything like that. Some other examples of using segmentation would be, for example, if you have a global audience and you just want to send like news or promo for a certain region. So for example, the Super Bowl is coming up. You might want to send some messaging around that, but it's not really relevant to your users outside of the US. You can use location segmentation there. Another example is if you have like a VIP section or like a fan club or things like that, you can send like an exclusive offer to those people as well. Next up, we have personalization. So personalization is so powerful in building a connection with your users. When you send a message that's more relevant, people are more likely to engage, whether that's through driving more traffic and usage or driving revenues and conversions, whatever is important for you. Personalization helps you create messaging that really reflects the user's experience with your product. So how data tags play in here is you use something called tag substitution to substitute the data that's relevant to the user. So on the left there, you say, you can see it says first name. So if you have your user's first name, you'll add that in the message. If not, you can have a default value like hey. And then for example, like an abandoned cart, you can actually insert the actual item that they abandoned. So instead of like a generic message, which is, hey, you left something in your cart, come back, you can send a really targeted message that says, Jessica, the sunglasses that you're looking at are still in your cart. Come check out now. So abandoned cart's like a really big use case here. There are other examples like if you're a gaming company and your users have like a specific level that they've conquered, you can celebrate that. Mentioning social activities. So for example, any sort of like social app, you can say, look, Serena commented on your photo or Dion liked your photo. So it's just bringing in relevant experiences to your messaging to make them a lot more effective. So here we have an example of this for one of our in-app messages. So as you can see, on the left-hand side is kind of like your generic celebration. So level complete, item available. And you can use data tags and tag substitution to make that really personalized to your user. So for example, the text, you can name the actual level that was complete. You can name the item reward that's available, as well as like the monetary item, the monetary value for that item and things like that. So you see how, you can have like default setup, and then you actually can make this personalized for your users and really like celebrate achievements and things like that. Cool. Next, we have automation. So automation is super useful because it helps you save a lot of time and resources. You don't have to keep creating the same or similar messages and keep sending it repetitively. You don't have to like start from scratch. You'll just have something set up. And it's like really the set it and forget it. It triggers in real time as users enter and exit segments, which is how data tags play in because you're using it to set up those segments. And then some common use cases include, for example, like triggering a welcome message. So as someone joins, you automate that initial outreach or that onboarding. Same with abandoned cart, re-engagement campaigns, things like that. So once a user is like 7 days inactive, you can send them like either like a promotion or like a hey, come back, maybe like try to tie in some like FOMO or other messaging strategies. And now going into the setup section. So data tags are really powerful and accessible, but it does mean that you need to basically map out what's important to you. So it's really helpful before you start this process of like really sitting down and thinking through your business, like what's important to you, what are the important milestones, for example, and how do you want to craft your messaging strategy around those milestones. Other key questions to consider are, right, like what's key data that you care about, what are key indicators of engagement or churn risk, and like once you have those major indicators, then you can structure messaging around that. So for example, you know, if you're like a social media platform and you find that, you know, posting a story within like 10 days really means that you're going to be a lot more engaged in the future or something to that effect, then you can set up a sequence to make sure that, you know, people are taking the action that you want, that they're going to meet those like major milestones that are important for you. Other things to consider, like what are important steps in your onboarding, what's known friction that you want to work around and you want to like get ahead of, address in advance. And also, you know, data tags are used for personalization. So like what are the kind of data points that you want to insert into your messaging as well. Here I've just mapped out a couple of example data tag keys. It can be based on your user account information, or it can be based on your user activity, things like that. I do want to note, you see this all the time in messaging, like first name, birthday. It's so common, for example, a store sending you a promo on your birthday for like 20% off, or come in for a free gift or something like that. Even though it's not technically considered PII, it is considered linkable information, which falls under the realm of PII, even though like the information by itself is non-sensitive. So if you are storing this information, you do need to have a privacy policy in place that is stating what you store. With that said, these are like very powerful indicators of, these are really powerful things that help improve engagement. Some industry-specific examples on the right. So for example, gaming, you can store high scores, levels for ecom. You can store, you know, product name, how much you spent, things like that. Media and entertainment, you know, they really care about what are like the topics that people are interested in, or they might want to track like trial offers, subscriptions, things like that. So super powerful, but again, you want to make sure that you're tracking the data that is really important to you. And so, yeah, there are multiple ways to add data tags. So there's actually a lot of information that we already collect by default. There's also some no-code ways. There's code ways, and there are also ways to add data tags through integrations. So if you are blocked by technical resources, things like that, don't worry. There are other ways to start collecting that information, but we really do recommend the best way to add data tags is via the SDK, because that way it's the best integrated with your app and website, and all of that information is just triggered live. So starting off with what's available by default. So we actually already collect a lot of information that's available for segmentation. So for example, there are things like session times, language, all of that, and you can use that to really help with your segmentation in creating the right audiences. So this default data actually is not usable for personalization, but it is very helpful with segmentation. There's also other data that we're collecting that can't be used for segmentation either, but that's just, you can find all of this information in our documentation. Did not mean to click on that. And, oh, okay. Yeah, so moving on through code, we actually already have a lot of resources in our documentation on how to do this via code, so I'm not going to spend too much time here, but I do want to note that since your developers need to set up the SDK to begin with, it's actually, it would be like a nice trick to actually have what data tags you want mapped out as part of that initial SDK setup. So while you have your resources, make sure to get everything done at once. Moving on to no code ways, which is what we're really going to focus on today. So there are a couple of ways. You can use the category slide prompt for web push. You can set up an in-app and collect data and set tags that way. And we can also easily tag users through our upcoming product called Journeys, which is not live yet. So you guys are going to get a little bit of a sneak preview of that today. You can also do it via CSV. So you can add tags, you can delete tags, you can update tags all through your dashboard via CSV upload as well. And then finally, we have integrations. So some of our integrations, you can easily add data tags to your profile. So with Segment, you have syncing of the user traits and properties as data tags. With HubSpot, you can also edit OneSignal data tags as part of your HubSpot workflow action. And with Mixpanel, they're actually automatically syncing first name and last name if that information is available in Mixpanel to begin with. And then, yeah, we're coming up to the demo section. So, like I mentioned, for companies that have limited technical resources, as you can see, there are multiple ways to easily set up and access data tags without having to rely on your developers. And we'll show you a couple of those live and demo how they work in our dashboard. So starting off, we have the category prompt. So this is for our web push users. It's basically a slide down prompt, and then you can easily add categories for people to opt into. It's again, going back to that theme of collecting first-party data that's really useful for your customers. And so how that works is, you just go to your dashboard, you go to the settings tab, go to your platforms, and then you go to your web push platforms. And then you scroll down to the permission prompt setup. You add a prompt, you add a push prompt, and then you make sure that you're selecting the push slide prompt. So here you can determine when you want to show this. So it can be based on the number of page views a customer's had, or and how long they've been on the site as well. So usually, if you don't want to show this until a little bit more engaged, maybe you change this to 5 page views and 100 seconds. Play around with it, you'll know what works best for your site. And then you toggle on categories. So basically here you can see the preview on the right live, and basically you just input your tag. So for example, you can do world news, add another category, USA news, sports. So as you see, as you're adding these categories, you can preview instantly what it looks like on the right side. So here, how this works is when your end user sees this prompt, they can opt in to the categories that they're interested in. So you can check, uncheck, and when they subscribe, all of that information will get added as a data tag to your user automatically in real time in your dashboard. So yeah, really easy way to set up this and start collecting information on what your users are interested in. So next we have real-time surveys. So InApp Messages are really powerful. A lot of people might not subscribe to your push notifications. And so, push, email, SMS, they're all permission-based messaging, but in-app, you can actually reach all of your active users. So anyone who's in your app you can send them an in-app message. It's not permission based. And so one really good use case for in-app messaging is to use it for real-time surveys. So you can get a quick pulse check of your customers, how they're feeling, what they're interested in, all of this. And you can get feedback directly in your app without having to, link to like a SurveyMonkey or like some third-party platform where you actually take users out of your app into a different platform or tool. And then as these users are interacting with the survey, again, the data tags are getting added to their profile in real time, and you'll have all that information available to you as your users are engaging with us. And so what that looks like is you go to an in-app. Let's load this. Just create a new in-app message. And so here, you can do kind of like a satisfaction in-app. So you can ask, how would you rate our product? And so you can add an image if you want. In this case, I'm just not going to have an image. And then you can add multiple buttons. So for example, button would be 1. And then what you do here is you add a click action and then you tag the user. Super simple, no code needed. Again, all of this information syncs in real time to your dashboard. So you just then add the data tag. So like it can be reading, and then they rate you as a 1. And then you can add like another button, add a click action, tag user. So the key would be the rating, and this would be rate 2. So you can either just add a block, or you can also just clone the block as well. So it's a little bit faster. Gotta update the text here too. Clone the block. Rate 4. And voila. Really quickly, now you have this like super simple survey. You're collecting information directly from your users, 1 click, super quickly, all in real time. Obviously, you can make this a lot prettier. You can add an image. You can make sure this aligns with your in-app, your brand guidelines and style and all of that. So you can change things like your background. You can give like each block a different text color. You can also have like advanced options where you play with like the margins, drop shadows, border weights, all of that. We have a lot of customization options. And we actually, if you're interested in learning more about designing an app, we actually have a webinar recently on that as well. So, set up a really quick survey in just like a matter of minutes. Again, no code as well. And then next up, we have the journeys tag node. So we've been working on something big here at OneSignal, and you're getting a sneak preview today. So Journeys is our visual workflow builder, and what it does is it allows you to build these really seamless cross-channel message journeys. So you'll have a really easy to use platform. Everything's all in one place, and Journeys helps you do things like guide your users to success, such as through onboarding, and it really takes automation to the next level and saving you even more time and resources. So today, I'm not going to create a journey from scratch. I do have one already created, but giving you a little bit more context. This is an example onboarding journey for, an example crypto company. So see here, you can see like the different steps. You have like branching based on either segments or like whether users click on your message and things like that. So you set up like your entire onboarding journey within here. And for this example onboarding journey, we have an example crypto company. And so I don't know how many of you have signed up for like a crypto account, but it's really important for users to like verify their identity and like fund their account, things like that. So, have mapped out just like an example onboarding where, you look to see first, you verify, has a user verified their identity? If not, you send them a push to tell them to verify. You wait some time, you check again. send them another message if they still haven't verified it. So at this point, you've already tried 2 times to get them verified, and you might need to have some more engaged follow-up. So then you can easily add a tag here. So for example, onboarding follow-up needed. And so you can then use that tag to either trigger like an in-app message or like an automated message, or you might use that tag to get like your support team to reach out and work with them more one-on-one. So really easy, no code way to add the data tags within your journeys as well. Really excited about journeys. Keep an eye out, it's coming soon. Right now we are looking for testers, like beta testers. So send me an email, eva@onesignal.com, if you're interested in being a tester. Your app will need to have external user IDs set up to qualify for the testing. And then finally, we're not going to cover this today, but our documentation has a lot of great examples in how to seamlessly add data tags through code as well. So you can tag users based on things like how many page visits they have, what type of messages they clicked on, where they actually subscribed to your site, and things like that. So I encourage you to visit our documentation and see that as well. So great. Now we have some time for Q&A. So if you have questions, please submit your question through the Q&A box. Any questions? Not, I'll assume you guys are all experts in data tags now. Okay, so I do have one more slide for you. One more thing to note, we also have some, question, how can I segment by message open? Yeah, so we have this other feature called retargeting right now. And so you can retarget users based on how they interacted with your message. So if they open, if they didn't open, if they clicked, if you're using something called confirm delivery. So you can go, let's exit out of this. Basically how retargeting works is, this is our demo testing account, so the data is not representative of like real engagement or users or things like that. So what you do is you go to your message and then you can retarget it. So then that can be based on whether they clicked, confirmed delivery, whether it was sent, things like that. Cool. So back to Forrester. We have some very exciting news. Forrester independently interviewed some OneSignal clients, and they did this in-depth analysis to find that using OneSignal led to a 425% ROI. So if you want to learn more, we're hosting a webinar on March 3rd to go over the details, key findings, and results as well. Cool. And no, we're about at time. So another question. So we have a news magazine. Want to send messages to different users selecting sports or local news. You need to select categories in WordPress. Is this possible? So the category slide prompt right now is for our custom OneSignal setups. So I think with WordPress, you can do it, but you do need to require some code, like some custom code, in order for that to have to work for WordPress. And again, all of that will be available in our documentation, or if you have any questions, always like reach out to our support team. They're pretty good at responding. Cool. I know we're right at time. So thanks everyone for joining today. As always, you can always visit our website, our blog, our documentation, a lot of great resources. And like I mentioned, our support team is always there and ready to help as well. Thank you.